When life breaks you down, when the disappointments are overwhelming, and when it seems like the pain will never end, remember this: God sees every tear, every sleepless night, every silent cry you've whispered into your pillow. What you think is the end, what feels like failure or rejection, is not the end of your story. It's the setup for something greater. What you're going through may be hard to understand now, but the beauty God is preparing to bring out of it is beyond anything you can imagine. You may feel like your life has been marked by hurt, betrayal, loss, or shame. But the same God who created galaxies out of darkness and turned ashes into beauty is still at work in your life. He's not finished with you. The pain you feel, the delay you're frustrated by, and the doors that closed on you, none of it is wasted. He's collecting every tear, storing every cry, and turning it all into purpose. Sometimes it feels like the brokenness will never be repaired, but brokenness is not the end, it's a beginning. God uses what the world discards. He raises up those the world puts down, that rejection. It's going to become redirection. That heartache, it will give birth to healing, and those tears, they're not falling without purpose. They are watering the seeds of your future breakthrough. In your darkest moments, when you feel like giving up, know that God is still writing your story. You may not see it now, but He's working behind the scenes, weaving your trials into a testimony that will inspire others. What looked like devastation will soon be celebration. That delay was not denial, it was divine preparation. When you're walking through seasons of pain, loneliness, or disappointment, it's easy to feel forgotten. It can seem like your prayers are unheard, like your tears go unnoticed, and like no one understands the weight of what you're carrying. But the truth is, God sees every tear you cry, every silent prayer you whisper, and every moment of heartbreak you endure. He is not distant, He is not indifferent. He is a God who is near to the brokenhearted, and He collects every tear as a testament to your endurance and your faith. Many people believe that strength means not showing emotion or not breaking down, but in God's eyes, vulnerability is not weakness. It is worship. When you cry out to Him, when you release your burdens, you're not just expressing pain, you're expressing trust. You're saying, God, I don't have the answers, but I believe you do. Those moments when you feel the most shattered are often when you're the closest to divine intervention. Your tears speak a language that heaven understands. They carry a message of faith that words can't always capture. God is not just watching from a distance, He is intimately involved in your life. Scripture reminds us that He keeps track of every sorrow, collects every tear in a bottle, and records each one in His book. This means nothing you've faced has been wasted. That lonely night, that devastating phone call, that time you were misunderstood or betrayed, God was there, and not only was He there, but He was actively working behind the scenes. He doesn't allow pain without purpose. Every tear you've cried is a seed planted in your future. In time, those seeds will bloom into testimonies of His faithfulness. When you go through situations that break your heart or test your spirit, you're not alone. God isn't ignoring your suffering. He is watching you persevere, and He is proud of your resilience. It's in those private battles, the moments no one else sees, where your spiritual growth takes root. You may not feel strong, but faith is not about feeling. It's about trusting. Trusting that even when you don't see results, even when it hurts, even when it seems unfair, God is still good, still sovereign, and still working. Sometimes we think God only responds to our strength, our declarations of faith, or our victories. But often, it's in our lowest, rawest places that He moves the most powerfully. When you're overwhelmed with emotion, when you're tired of being strong, when the tears won't stop falling, that's when God leans in. That's when heaven listens a little more closely. He doesn't wait for you to pull yourself together before stepping in. He meets you right in the middle of your breakdown. Your tears also carry prophetic weight. They signify the end of one chapter and the preparation for another. They're a sign that your heart is still tender, still open, still seeking. That's the kind of heart God uses. He's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for honest ones. When you pour out your heart, He begins to pour in His strength, His healing, His restoration. The very act of weeping is sometimes the doorway to your next level of breakthrough. In a world that often overlooks the quiet sufferer, God never does. You may feel unseen by people, but you are fully seen by your Creator. Your private pain is acknowledged in heaven. Your quiet faith, your silent endurance, and your tearful prayers are building something powerful in your life. They are setting the stage for a testimony so impactful that others will be drawn to God because of what He brought you through. Life has a way of throwing us into situations that feel unfair, painful, and confusing. There are seasons where everything seems to go wrong. Plans fall apart, relationships end, opportunities are missed, and the path ahead becomes unclear. In those moments, it's easy to question everything, especially your purpose. But what you may not realize is that the pain you're experiencing is not the conclusion of your story. It's the preparation for something greater. The trials you face are not without meaning. They are part of a divine setup, a process through which God is shaping your destiny. Pain has a way of unlocking things in you that comfort never could. It awakens your faith, tests your patience, deepens your character, and positions you to be used in ways you never imagined. You might see your current struggle as a setback, but in God's eyes, it's a setup. It's a step forward disguised as a delay. It's a divine detour that leads you to a place of strength, clarity, and purpose. Often the things we try to avoid, disappointment, failure, heartbreak, are the very tools God uses to align us with His perfect plan. It's not easy to accept pain as preparation when you're in the middle of it. When doors close and people walk away, when the job doesn't come through or the healing doesn't happen right away, you may feel abandoned or forgotten. But pain isn't proof of God's absence. It's often evidence of His work. He allows certain things to break so that better things can be built. The rejection you felt was protection. The delay you experienced was divine timing. What looks like loss in the natural is often gain in the spiritual. God is strategic. He doesn't waste anything. Every experience you go through, every hurt you endure, every difficult season is used to prepare you for what's next. Your current pain is producing something inside of you, a resilience, a compassion, a fire that comfort never could. You're being refined, just like gold is purified by fire. Your faith is being strengthened in the furnace of adversity. God is not trying to hurt you. He's trying to transform you. Sometimes the greatest growth happens in the darkest places. The soil of suffering is often where the seeds of destiny take root. While you may be asking, "Why me?" God is saying, "Because I have something greater for you." He's preparing you to carry more, to lead more, to influence more. And preparation always comes before promotion. If it feels like you're being stretched, like everything is being stripped away, it's because something new is being built in its place. You are not defined by your pain, but your purpose is often revealed through it. The very thing that was meant to break you will become the foundation of your testimony. God will take the parts of your life that seem the most shattered and use them to shine the brightest light. When you finally come through what you're facing, you'll be able to look back and see that the struggle was necessary. It was not punishment, it was positioning. The pain didn't come to destroy you, it came to elevate you. You are not just going through something, you are growing through it. God is stretching your faith so that you can step into greater favor. He is pruning you not to reduce you, but to prepare you for greater fruitfulness. Every setback, every disappointment, and every tear is working for your good. The pain has a purpose, and that purpose is leading you into a future that is more powerful than your past. Brokenness is something most people try to avoid. No one wants to be hurt, rejected, or left picking up the pieces of what once felt whole. But in God's hands, brokenness is not a sign of failure. It's a starting point for transformation. The areas where you feel the most pain, the deepest wounds, or the greatest loss are often the places God will use to bring about the most powerful blessings in your life. What feels like something being taken away is actually something being made new. When your heart feels shattered, when your plans fall apart, when the weight becomes too much to carry, God is not abandoning you. He's preparing to bless you in ways you couldn't experience without going through the breaking. In the natural world, broken things are often discarded. A broken vase, a torn garment, or a damaged object usually loses its value. But in the spiritual realm, brokenness can actually increase value. God specializes in using what's been broken. He takes what others throw away and turns it into something priceless. Throughout Scripture, the people God used the most were often those who had been broken in some way. David was broken by failure and guilt, yet became a man after God's own heart. Joseph was broken by betrayal and injustice, yet rose to power and saved nations. Your brokenness is not the end of your story. It's the place where God's glory begins to shine through. There's something about brokenness that brings humility, that strips away pride and makes room for grace. When you've been broken, you stop relying solely on your own strength and begin to depend on something greater than yourself. You begin to lean into God more deeply, pray more sincerely, and see life through the lens of compassion. Brokenness softens your heart and opens your eyes to things you might have otherwise missed. It creates space for God to work in ways that comfort never could. The beauty of God's nature is that He doesn't just fix broken things, He transforms them. He takes the pieces of your past and rearranges them into a future that's stronger, deeper, and more meaningful than you ever thought possible. The enemy may have tried to break you to destroy you, but God allows breaking to reshape you. Every tear you've cried, every moment you thought you couldn't go on, every time you felt forgotten, it all becomes part of the foundation for a new season. And this time, what's being built can't be shaken, because it's not built on pride or comfort. It's built on God's strength and grace. Your brokenness becomes your bridge. It becomes the way others can see God's healing power in real time. When people see you overcome what should have broken you permanently, when they witness your peace in the midst of chaos, when they hear your testimony of how God brought beauty from ashes, they're inspired. Your life becomes a living message of hope. What once embarrassed you, hurt you, or made you feel weak now becomes your greatest ministry. Not because you're perfect, but because God is perfect in your weakness. The blessing that follows brokenness is deeper than surface level success or material reward. It's the kind of blessing that brings peace in the storm, joy that isn't dependent on circumstances, and strength that doesn't run dry. God doesn't bless you in spite of your brokenness. He blesses you through it. He turns what the enemy meant for evil into good, and He uses what was once your greatest pain to birth your greatest purpose. You don't have to hide your scars. They are the proof of healing, the marks of survival, and the sign that God has been faithful every step of the way. In life, delays are often seen as disappointments. When prayers aren't answered right away, when goals take longer to reach, or when you feel like you're stuck in a season of waiting, it's easy to assume that something is wrong. You might think God has forgotten you, that you missed your moment, or that others are moving forward while you're being left behind. But delay does not mean denial. In fact, Divine delays are often the most critical parts of God's preparation process. What you perceive as being held back is actually God lining things up in a way that's far greater than you could arrange on your own. God operates on a timetable that is different from human expectations. While we are eager for quick answers and immediate outcomes, God is more focused on developing strength, patience, and spiritual maturity. What looks like inactivity is often God working behind the scenes, shaping hearts, opening the right doors, and closing the wrong ones. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean nothing is happening. God is strategic, and His timing is always purposeful. He knows when you're truly ready to step into what He has planned for you. Sometimes He delays the blessing not to frustrate you, but to protect you from stepping into something before you're equipped to handle it. The delay is also where dependence is built. In seasons of waiting, you're forced to lean into God more deeply. You begin to pray differently, trust more fully, and let go of your own understanding. It's in these moments of uncertainty that faith becomes real. You start believing not just in the outcome, but in the character of the one who promised it. That's when growth happens. That's when you stop rushing ahead and start walking in step with God's will. God uses delay to strip away things that don't belong in your next season. Certain relationships may fall apart, certain opportunities may slip through your fingers, and certain doors may close, not because you're being punished, but because God is refining the path. He's removing distractions, idols, and anything that could sabotage your future. The waiting period isn't just about time, it's about transformation. By the time God brings you into the fulfillment of what you've been praying for, you won't just have the blessing, you'll have the character to sustain it. There are moments when God holds things back because He's preparing something better than you asked for. You might be praying for a good thing, but God wants to give you the best thing. Sometimes the delay is the difference between settling and soaring. If you rush the process, you may miss the fullness of what God intends to do. But when you trust the timing, you open yourself up to divine favor that can't be earned, forced, or manipulated. It's also important to remember that delay can be the space where miracles begin to unfold. Many of the greatest breakthroughs in Scripture happened after long periods of waiting. Abraham waited decades for the promise of a son. Joseph endured years of injustice before stepping into leadership. David was anointed king long before he ever sat on the throne. These weren't wasted years. They were years of shaping, sharpening, and positioning. You may not understand the reason for the delay now, but later you'll look back and realize that every pause had a purpose. You'll see that God didn't forget you. He was preparing you. You'll recognize that the delay was divine, designed not to break your faith, but to build it. God's timing is not just about when the blessing arrives, it's about who you've become when it does. The delay is not working against you, it's working for you. It's setting the stage for a future that's bigger, brighter, and more blessed than you could have imagined. Every challenge, every heartbreak, and every season of difficulty is shaping something powerful within. What feels like a storm today will soon become a testimony tomorrow. In the moment, trials can seem senseless, painful, and unnecessary, but they are never wasted. God is not only present in your victories, He's deeply involved in your struggles. Every test you face has the potential to become a part of a larger story, a testimony that reflects God's grace, power, and faithfulness. You may not understand why certain things happened the way they did, but in time those very moments will become the evidence of how far you've come and how faithful God has been. The tests in life are never comfortable. They stretch you, break you, humble you, and often leave you questioning everything. But those same tests are where God builds your endurance, your character, and your trust in Him. You don't have a testimony without a test. What feels like chaos now is being shaped into a message that others will one day need. There's someone out there who will find strength through your survival story. The pain you're experiencing now will become the very words that comfort someone else when they feel lost, discouraged, or on the brink of giving up. What the enemy intended for harm, God will always turn around for good. The things that tried to destroy you, the battles that wore you down, and the nights you cried yourself to sleep, none of it is meaningless. Those are the moments that become your ministry. Your testimony will not just be about how you made it through, but how God carried you, sustained you, and turned it all around for your good. The places where you were wounded the deepest will often become the areas where your voice speaks the loudest. You'll speak not just from theory, but from experience. People will feel the truth in your words because you lived them. It's in the hardest places that God shapes the strongest testimonies. Sometimes what looks like a setback is really setting you up for something far greater. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, it all becomes the material for a testimony that shows God's redemptive power. The story of how you were rejected but still rose. The narrative of how you lost everything but gained unshakable faith. These are the testimonies that don't just inspire, they transform. People relate to your struggle before they celebrate your success. Your honesty, your scars, and your journey make the story real and relatable. The transformation that happens within you during your testing season is where the power of your testimony lies. Anyone can talk about blessings, but few can speak from a place of brokenness turned into breakthrough. Your voice becomes more impactful not because of perfection, but because of the process. You know what it's like to be broken, to be confused, to feel stuck. And because you've walked through it, you carry a deeper empathy, a truer strength, and a more grounded hope. God never wastes a hurt. Every tear you cried, every prayer you whispered in desperation, every moment you wanted to quit, it's all being written into your story. And when the time is right, your story will bring light to others walking through their own darkness. Your healing will offer proof that restoration is possible. Your comeback will serve as evidence that God still lifts people up from the lowest places. You're not just being healed for yourself, you're being prepared to heal others through your testimony. The most powerful part of your life may not be the moments of success, but the testimony that comes from surviving what should have taken you out. There is purpose in your pain, and soon that purpose will be clear not only to you but to everyone who hears your story. There are moments in life when the future looks uncertain, when everything feels like it's falling apart, and hope seems just out of reach. In those seasons, it's easy to believe that what lies ahead will be a continuation of pain, struggle, and unanswered prayers. But the truth is, God's plans for your life far exceed what your mind can currently grasp. What He has in store is not ordinary, it's extraordinary. The beauty He is preparing to bring into your life isn't limited by what you've lost, how long you've waited, or what others have said. His promises are bigger than your circumstances, and His blessings go far beyond your imagination. When you walk through trials, your perspective often becomes clouded by pain. You see only what's wrong, what's missing, or what didn't happen. But God sees the full picture. He's not just focused on getting you through the storm. He's planning how to use that storm to bless you, to grow you, and to reveal His glory in a way that leaves you speechless. Your past may have been marked by disappointment, but that does not define your future. The heartbreak, the delays, the detours, they are all building towards something beautiful and divine. God's nature is one of restoration, abundance, and transformation. He doesn't just mend broken pieces, He creates something new, something better than before. You may think you've reached your limit or that too much has been lost for anything good to come from it, but God specializes in impossible situations. He takes what looks dead and brings it back to life. He multiplies what's insufficient. He brings beauty from ashes, joy from mourning, and purpose from pain. His creativity knows no bounds, and his goodness knows no limit. What's ahead for you isn't just slightly better than what you've known. It's beyond what you could plan, predict, or expect. You may have dreams, but God's dreams for you are bigger. You may have goals, but His purpose reaches deeper. Sometimes the reason you've had to wait, the reason things didn't work out before, is because He didn't want to give you just a partial blessing. He's been preparing something complete, something that will blow your mind and fill your heart in a way nothing else could. The timing, the people, the opportunities, He's arranging it all with precision. When God begins to release that beauty into your life, it won't be subtle. It will be undeniable. People who saw your struggle will witness your breakthrough. Those who doubted you will see God's favor. You will walk into places you never thought you'd be, experience peace you never thought you'd feel, and carry a joy that can't be explained. And it won't be because you forced it, but because God released it. It will be clear that it came from Him, not from your effort, connections, or plans. This kind of blessing transforms not only your circumstances, but also your perspective. You begin to see that every delay was protection, every detour had purpose, and every tear watered the seeds of what's now blooming. The beauty God brings into your life changes how you view your past, your pain, and your identity. You no longer carry shame, you carry testimony. You no longer walk in fear, you walk in purpose. When God unveils what He's been working on behind the scenes, it won't just fulfill your desires, it will exceed them. It will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It will be a reminder that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him. You may not see it coming, but it's coming. You may not understand how, but He's already made a way. You may not feel ready, but He's been preparing you for this all along.